Good evening. My name is Joon Kim. I am the acting United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York. Yesterday afternoon, a man consumed by hate and a twisted ideology attacked our country and our city, using a rented Home Depot truck as his weapon of terror. The man sped down West Side Highway and then intentionally plowed his truck into a pedestrian walkway and bicycle path, hitting and running over people who were simply trying to enjoy a sunny afternoon in New York City. He killed 8 innocent human beings and injured at least a dozen other people. That man, as alleged in the complaint filed today, was Sayfullo Saipov. Today, thanks to the incredible work of the FBI, the NYPD, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, and law enforcement in the city and around the country, just about 24 hours after Saipov's attack, we now have him charged with federal crimes of terrorism. The complaint filed today charges Saipov with 2 counts. First, material support of a terrorist organization, that being ISIS. And second, a federal charge of violence and destruction of a motor vehicle with willful disregard for the safety of human life that resulted in multiple deaths. As the complaint alleges, after speeding through the walkway and bicycle paths, running over and killing people, Saipov crashed his truck into a school bus carrying children. Then he got out, yelled, "Allahu Akbar," meaning God is great, brandishing 2 weapons, which turned out to be a paintball gun and a pellet gun. He was ultimately stopped by a brave police officer, Ryan Nash, who confronted him and shot him in the abdomen. In the short time since this attack, as alleged in the complaint, we have developed evidence establishing that Saipov committed this attack in support of ISIS. That evidence is laid out in the complaint, but it includes the following: a note that was recovered just outside the truck that read, in part, "No God but God, and Muhammad is his prophet," and Islamic supplication, "It will endure," a phrase commonly used to refer to ISIS. Also, a search of cell phones found in a bag that he was carrying, a search conducted pursuant to court-authorized wiretaps, revealed thousands of ISIS-related images and about 90 videos depicting, among other things, ISIS fighters killing prisoners by running over them with a tank, beheading them, and shooting them in the face. In Mirandized interview statements with law enforcement last night and today, Saipov allegedly admitted that he was inspired to commit the attack by the ISIS videos he watched and had been planning this attack for 2 months. He also admitted that he had rented a truck on October 22nd to practice the turns he would make on his Halloween Day attack. As I mentioned, it is incredible investigative work that has allowed us to bring these charges so soon after the attacks. I want to thank all the law enforcement and citizens who responded to this attack in the way New Yorkers do. In particular, I want to thank Officer Ryan Nash for his selfless bravery. I want to thank the FBI, represented here today by Bill Sweeney, Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office. Their work in this case, as in all terrorism matters that we've worked with them on, has been extraordinary. I also want to thank the NYPD, represented here today by First Deputy Commissioner Benjamin Tucker and Deputy Commissioner John Miller. Their leadership and that of Commissioner ONeill over the greatest police force in the world has helped keep our city safe. And in the wake of yesterday's attacks, the NYPD has kept our citizens reassured and continuing to live our lives. Finally, I want to thank the terrorism prosecutors and investigators in my office who jumped on this immediately and haven't gotten any sleep since. AUSA's Andrew Beatty, Amanda Hull, Matthew LaRoche, who are not here because they're in court at the presentment, and investigators Kevin Song and George Corey, as well as the supervisors of our Terrorism and International Narcotics Unit who are here with me, Sean Buckley and Elon Graff. The folks in that unit, working with the FBI, the NYPD, the JTTF, have a long and unblemished track record of successfully investigating and prosecuting domestic and international terrorists, whether it's the Chelsea bomber, just convicted a few weeks ago on all counts, who will be serving mandatory life in prison, or the other terrorists convicted in our courthouse just down the street in the last few years alone. That list includes the recent convictions by this office after the trial of Salman Abu Ghaith, Osama bin Laden's son-in-law, Abu Hamza, the United Kingdom-based radical cleric, Ahmed al-Gamal, the homegrown ISIS supporter, and Khalid al-Fawaz, one of al-Qaeda's embassy bombing defendants. It is an amazing record of success. Of the 8 innocent people Saipov allegedly killed yesterday, 2 were Americans, and the rest were foreigners visiting New York City. It has been reported that 5 of the victims were childhood friends from Argentina celebrating a high school reunion. Those Argentinian men came here, like the millions of other visitors, to see the sights and spend some time in the greatest city on earth. For the same reasons that millions visit this city and find it so special, alleged terrorists like Saipov view the city as a prime target for their hate-filled crimes. But the thing is, for the alleged terrorists like Saipov, they will find in New York City something else: justice. They will find and have found that law enforcement and everyday people in this city are not afraid of their evil. They see through their false, hateful rhetoric and are committed to bringing them to justice. And that is what we intend to do with Sayfullo Saipov. I'd like to bring to the stand now Bill Sweeney, Assistant Director in charge of the FBI.
Thanks, Joon. Good evening. For the past 24 hours, hundreds of personnel from the Joint Terrorism Task Force, both on this side of the river and in New Jersey, have been working around the clock, developing and tracking leads and executing searches as we dig deeper into the life and motivations of Saipov. The charges announced this evening, while significant, should be taken as no indication that our work here is over. We will continue to employ all investigative techniques necessary to fully understand his social network and to unearth his motivations. Rest assured, we will not stop until every last lead has been covered. I do have one recent update I'd like you to make you aware of. Earlier, as we came in this evening, we were seeking information about an individual. Many of you in this room received that alert. We are no longer seeking that individual. We believed he had information related to yesterday, but we are not looking for that individual any longer. I would encourage anybody who believes they knew Mr. Saipov or has information about yesterday to proactively contact law enforcement. A reminder to the public that the tip line is 1-800-CALL-FBI with information that may help us in any way. We also have a link set up where you can upload any photos, any videos you may think are relevant. That link is fbi.gov/NYC Tribeca. The NYPD also has their tip line set up at 1-800-577-TIPS. Following the Chelsea attacks in September of last year, I highlighted the importance of an engaged public. Today is no different. I cannot overstate the critical role the public plays in combating these threats. Please remain engaged, be aware, and immediately report suspicious activity to the authorities. In closing, I'd like to thank the partners, especially the hundreds of men and women working on the JTTF, represented by at least 50 agencies on this side of the river alone. Your work has been exceptional. I'd like to thank the U.S. Attorney's Office, Joon, your team, Ben, Commissioner ONeill, John Miller, the Fire Commissioner Dan Nigro, and George Beach from the State Police. The work your men and women have done has been absolutely extraordinary. Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Now I'd like to bring to the podium First Deputy Commissioner Benjamin Tucker.
Good evening. Today's announcement of an indictment of Sayfullo Saipov on federal charges sends the strongest message to those who seek to commit acts of terror in our country. This swift and decisive charges demonstrate the resolve of our local and federal law enforcement who work so closely to both prevent terror as well as bring those who commit acts of terror to justice. The NYPD wishes to thank our close law enforcement partners in the FBI, especially FBI Assistant Director Bill Sweeney, and our federal prosecutors in the Southern District, led by Acting Assistant U.S. Attorney, United States Attorney for the Southern District, Joon Kim.
Thank you, First Deputy Commissioner. I'll take a few questions.
To clarify, that person you're no longer looking for, is that Mr. Kadyrov?
We are no longer looking for the person. The information went out about. That's all I want to say. There's no reason for me to seek a name anymore. We have found him, and I'll leave it at that.
States that he believed he started planning this attack a year ago. Do you believe there was another attack that he might have been planning before that?
I believe the complaint says that he began planning the attack 2 months ago, but I'm not going to go beyond what's in the complaint.
The complaint says that he chose Halloween because of the violence. Any indication from him why he chose that spot versus something that made him even more proud?
Not going to get into any other statements that he made other than what's set forth in the complaint, but the complaint does include an admission that he had done a practice run on October 22nd with his truck. So beyond what's in the complaint for now, I'm not going to go into other statements he may have made.
June, are the two charges currently charged, either of them death eligible, and do you expect the government to authorize your office to seek for that?
The second charge is death eligible.
Violence of charge?
Correct. And the material support charge is life, is the maximum. As you know, the process by which whether the department decides to seek the death penalty or not goes through a process in the department. It's also worth noting that this is a complaint. At some point, we will be indicting Mr. Saipov, and that, as we know, we're 24 hours away from the attack. The investigation is very active and ongoing, and the indictment, we will see what counts are charged ultimately in the indictment, and some of them may be death eligible, some of them may have life prisons as the maximum, but the process by which the determination is made for counts that do have death as a maximum penalty, that goes through the process. Yes?
Is it possible that he originally intended to hit people on the Brooklyn Bridge? Because they mentioned that in the complaint. Or walkway?
Beyond what's in the complaint and his statements, I don't think there's anything else that I can get into. Yeah.
The White House has said that they could consider him an enemy combatant. Is it possible that he could be sent to Gitmo? Is there another process that can be considered that way?
As I understand it, the determination of someone being declared an enemy combatant is one that gets made way above my pay grade. This is an office of federal prosecutors. There was a number of federal crimes committed as set forth in the complaint that we were able to prove, and we brought the charges, and we intend to proceed with them. Whether or not someone will be designated as an enemy combatant or not, that's a determination that will be made elsewhere.
What will happen after these charges, potentially?
I believe in the history, if you look through precedents, there can be federal charges in place, and then someone can be declared an enemy combatant. But as I said, those are determinations that other people make. Yes?
The 90 videos, the photos that were on the cell phones, was that on his person, or did you get that from his home in New Jersey?
I believe the complaint alleges that the cell phones that we obtained a search warrant for and that had these images were in a bag that he was allegedly carrying at the time of his attack.
At the time of the incident?
Correct.
And, Commissioner, when the videos, the photos, I mean, what you've seen as far as the social media channels you mentioned before, is this a case where this is another guy who really radicalized himself domestically in this country since he was here since 2010?
We don't know his path of radicalization yet. The exploitation of these telephones pursuant to search warrants is a process because of the volume of material in there that is still in progress and will go on for a while. I think if you examine the component pieces of his attack, obtaining the vehicle as outlined in the complaint, testing the vehicle for the high-speed attack, learning to use it properly, having secondary weapons inside, multiple knives, and trying to achieve maximum lethality certainly is indicative, along with the amount of material in his telephone, that he was a follower of ISIS propaganda, social media, and frankly, tactical instruction.
Okay, we'll take one more question.
At this time, do you believe anyone else is involved in planning or carrying out?
At this time, all we have are the charges in the complaint and the charges against this one individual. Thank you, everyone.